Ramos and higher here in game number 2 after Sergio takes down their first representative in game 1 and also picking up his first win on the season.
Minor wall breakers split. The Musketeer will handle that fairly easily, and Muskie now will wander unprotected across the bridge. Sergio Ramos chooses to leak a little bit and take care of it with the Knight.
Second win on the season. My apologies there, Sergio.
Cannon cart directly into the Knight, maybe feeling a bit like Graveyard here for higher.
So you're just going to get a log in, get a little chip damage, and get that bomb tower to do its job. And again, Rich, this just feels like a more composed, calm Sergio Ramos than we've seen in a very long time.
Very true. You know, I'm wondering here, Andrew, if they went with this Cannon Cart Graveyard deck or whatever this Cannon Cart deck ends up being after seeing Sergio Ramos fumble a little bit with the Cannon Cart in the last game.
Oh, that's actually a really interesting point that you make there. It's true. It was, you know, we saw a couple moments today where interactions that are very, very obvious and predictable, like a flying machine on a goblin cage earlier or a cannon cart just coming across the bridge. These players that maybe aren't as experienced or not quite up to the way that they've been playing in the past have allowed those mental slip-ups to really punish them.
Well, it's also the pressure of World Finals on top of that, right? Just the pressure, the focus, the fact that for Sergio Ramos, it's also between 4 and 5 in the morning as well.
Yeah.
So you put a lot of factors in there, and maybe, you know, we saw a card can become almost a bit of a boogeyman for you, right? We saw what happened with the giant skeleton for Javi back in the 2019 season of CRL West, and maybe they're trying to do the same thing with the cannon cart here to Sergio.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting point that you bring up. And another interesting thing is how much damage those archers got on the right-hand lane while Sergio was able to adequately defend the graveyard and get a counter push in the left. So great stuff here from our former CCGS world champion.
Good archer split here for Sergio Ramos. Will control both the Brawler and the Hunter. So nice movement there. Of course, if you did watch the CCGS World Championship, you saw Sergio Ramos, the passion he brings in his wins, not just against Music Master, but all the way through that event. Certainly a very passionate player. And it's so interesting that, you know, Javi Catorce also has a lot of passion, but then you mix in with the sort of dispassionate play of Morton and Sam, and somehow they still all meld together really well.
Yeah, it's a really kind of incredible thing when you look at that team house and the chemistry that KB has built over on SK Gaming. And honestly, again, a big part of that is Morton. They wanted to build a squad around him, and he had his eyes set on a handful of people. And, you know, they tried soaking out for a season. It worked out okay, and they ended up picking up Javi, Sergio with Sam and Morton, and it feels like they finally struck gold.
This is interesting. So you see Sergio Ramos getting out to the lead here. Keep an eye, though, on these arrows, because this deck actually works out nicely for Sergio Ramos a little bit. Hire's going to want to be using the Snowball and the Goblin Cage as much as possible on those wall breakers so we can save those arrows to work against the archers.
Yeah, and you see a bit of the shake of the head there from Sergio Ramos, maybe because he sent the miner into the same spot, I believe, for the second or third time in a row, but gets damage out of it. Hunter does okay here on the Goblin Cage, and he's got a good amount of defense here, maybe a high bomb tower. Oh, nope, he goes archers low and then the high bomb tower.
And here you go, arrows going to come in, get the archers off the board. This is exactly what Hire wants to be doing, is getting the arrows onto those archers and making enough room for the graveyard, and just like that, we are very, very close as we go into triple.
And I like the decisions that Sergio are making, but he is having difficulty playing in the same lane. So I like that he's going to the opposite. Obviously, that high Goblin Cage is going to be easy cleanup. And, you know, that's something he might need to start looking for with a high bomb tower or maybe a fake out with a miner and then a high bomb tower to bait out the cage.
And one archer just wanders away, so avoids the arrows, but doesn't do much more than that. And this is starting to go away from Sergio Ramos, and a lot of it is that Hire has just got his cycle down exactly where he wants it. This is a perfect cycle for Hire, and he's in firm control as we go into the final 30.
Yep, and there it is. Archers in. They're going to get cleaned up by the arrows. Hire obviously not happy with that hitting the King Tower and activating it, but at this point it really doesn't matter. Musketeer gets one big shot in.
Yeah, that Musketeer put the final nail in the coffin here, it seems. Now, let's see. Can Sergio Ramos just sell out and put a ton of pressure in the opposite direction? I don't think there's going to be enough time for it to happen. Miner in, wall breakers will not be able to sneak past the Hunter, who's still alive way up there, and Hire will even things up in King of the Hill.
Yeah, pretty great job there by Hire. Sergio definitely gave him a run for his money, but Hire just made really, really great decision making. Never got ahead of himself. Always had enough to defend. Always had enough